right, stand by. Roll sound.
Speed.
Roll camera.
Speeding.
Slate.
Scene one, take one. Mark.
And action. Hey everybody, how you doing? Here it is, Friday at 2 o'clock, Burnie's Applebox. We're back, yay! You know what? I decided my next show is going to be a show the half hour before we shoot this show. So that is the most interesting half hour of this show, is the panic mode everybody is in to make it work. And my guys, my geniuses back there on the boards, they got it all figured out. They got it handled. They do such a great job. Thank you guys. Let me give them a shout out. That's Nick Brandstetter, Hunter Rogers. We've got Travis Thomas, and Sean Ryan in the house today. So it's really awesome. But the best part about today's show is our guest, and that is Candy Sugarman. Candy is my social media expert. She's somebody I hire, and she keeps me straight, and she answers all my questions, and she is totally invaluable to me in my business. And I just had to have her on here because I want her to talk to you about social media and the shortcuts, the long cuts, everything else. And you know, it changes so fast, Candy, it's hard to keep up with for, I think, almost anybody.
It is.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. And thank you so much for having me on your show. I certainly appreciate it.
It's all my pleasure. And Candy comes from Fayetteville, North Carolina. And I realized I had been to Fayetteville when you had just told me it was the home of Fort Bragg, because I had done stories for Discovery on the 101st Airborne several times. So I was certainly there. In fact, when I was at Fort Bragg, and I don't know, I may get abducted if I say this, but it was the first time I walked into a hangar with all black helicopters. So I loved it when I was out there. It was awesome. Anyway, so Candy, you're in Fayetteville, North Carolina. You've lived there for 16 years, right?
That's correct.
I think that alone speaks to the power of social media, because I found you through a suggestion of somebody, and there was, I don't know, I probably had a dozen names there, you know. And of course, I knew I was going to try the name Candy Sugarman before, you know, that was a no-brainer. But I talked to several people, and then I talked to you. I was so impressed by you. I was so impressed by your style, your demeanor. Your knowledge base was excellent, and you were giving me answers and explanations that no one else was, you know. And I was very, very impressed. And of course, we've been working together. And actually, I haven't even told you this. There's other things that I'm going to do with you here coming up that I want to do ads for and stuff like that. So we'll get into that after the show. But the fact that you live in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and you're a social media expert, and I know you do a lot back there with people in your community and stuff like that, and you teach all of that. Tell us about that. I mean, what's the market like for you in Fayetteville? Is it, and you have clients all over the country too, right?
I actually have clients all over the world. And, you know, you were talking about the power of social media. How I met someone who was able to refer me to you was through a friend that I have in Canada. We have been friends for about 7 years, have never met in person. We worked on a project together for 2 years in which we spent pretty much an hour a day, every day for those 2 years on the phone working together.
Wow.
And never met her in person. And I have so many friends and colleagues that I know through social media, through that way. And it is so incredibly powerful. And that, again, not only from Canada, I have clients in New Zealand. I have a client in Australia that recently contacted me. So yes, I obviously love social media and the ability to really bring a community together.
I think, you know, that's really the thing. My history with social media was humble beginning. You know, I was in 2009, I had started a Facebook page in 2008. 2009, we hit the economic crash. You know, I was down, not working much. So I thought, God, everybody tells me that I can, you know, market with Facebook. But how do you do it? I mean, I had half a dozen of my fellow graduates from high school on there. I had a couple other grips and, you know, just a smattering of people at the time who were on Facebook, you know, and got on there, malingered for, I would say, a year. And in 2009, with the more time that I had, I ran across the page for the Society of Camera Operators. And I decided that if these were people who could possibly use my grip trucks, these are people who would be interested in what I do, you know, and my 2,000 stupid pictures of on set that I had loaded and paid somebody to copy and load onto Facebook because I didn't really know how to do it, right? And had them all there. So what I did is I used a method of this. This was my criteria. I would, if you were in the Society of Camera Operators page and you had a picture of a movie camera with you in your profile picture, and you were from Los Angeles, I sent you a friend request. And you know, I got Facebook slapped my hands for, oh, too many requests, all that stuff, you know, did all that. But in 2 weeks, I went from 125 people to 1,200 people. And needless to say, you know, 1,100 of them were in the business, were in my industry. And that really changed my business. That really changed my presence in the industry, where I stood in it. And thinking I was so late to the game in 2009, I realized later on, a few years down the road, I was an early adopter, and that paid huge dividends. It's changed now, but tell me, how do you tell people to use, let's just start with Facebook. How do you tell people who are an individual, a freelancer, what are some tips you could give us that help people get work and raise their presence?
Well, you know, one of the things, and I do a lot of I do a lot of speaking engagements, as I told you, and around pretty much every election year, I amp this up even more. It is a very social world, so everything that you do is looked at and scrutinized. There is no real barrier between you and your business. For most people, they are their business. If people look at you and say, hey, you're with, then you're the face of your business.
Right.
Now, you didn't say anything, but I will tell people out there that I'm also the founder of a women's only shooting group called Gunpowder Gals.
Right.
And I'm very passionate about teaching women how to protect themselves and their family. I bring that up because a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to shoot a fully automatic Uzi that my friend had. And as a civilian, you don't get that opportunity to shoot any
not
fully
very
automatic
often.
weapons.
Yeah.
So I had this great picture of me smiling, you know, with the Uzi in my hand.
I saw it today.
I love that picture.
Yeah.
And around that time, I had been courting a prospect, and she and I had been going back and forth. And she kind of went silent for a while, and I kept emailing her and calling her, and she emailed me back and said, you know, I met you in person. I like you. You seem like a nice person. But I saw that picture of you with the gun, and it scared me. And so I'm not going to be able to do any work with you. I'm not. And I suggest that you take that off of your Facebook page immediately. Now, I have been rejected by a number of people who didn't like the fact that I have an association with guns and the Second Amendment. And I bring that story up because as an individual, regardless of what your business is, what you're doing on social media, people are watching. So those things that you're posting, those things that you're saying, the pictures, you have to be willing to lose business. Okay. There are things I believe that I don't necessarily post about, that I don't, you know, I'll give my money, I'll vote, I'll have discussions with close friends, but I don't necessarily go on Facebook and rant about them.
Right.
Because I'm not willing to lose business over it. I don't see the advantage of that. So I tell people, individuals, pick your battles, pick what you want, be thoughtful. So many people run out in social media and, you know, they're like 12-year-olds. Whatever they feel or whatever they think, they'll post. And I have purposely not done business with people because I've looked at their social media posts and went, that's a lot of drama.
Yeah.
You know, they're complaining. They're saying a
Wow.
lot of bad things. That could possibly be me or my business if I get on the wrong side of them.
Yeah. Yes, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. You know, that is so true too. I think that there is no hiding anymore. You know, I could have known you in socially before social media or whatever, and probably unless the subject came up, never known you were, you know, I don't know, you know, your interest in firearms. I mean,
Right.
I don't have the same interest. However, I don't go and judge people. Let me say this: most of a lot of some of my best friends do not have the same political views as I do. You know, I accept that. I accept that, and I give them their own. You know what I mean? If we're in a discussion about politics or policy or something like that, and I will state my beliefs, and I have no problem with that. I think this is very timely for you to bring that up because of the election and what we've seen, that is probably the most acrimonious that I have ever seen Facebook. And it's almost, if you post anything, you know, that can be read one way or the other by, you're going to have to live with it. And I don't know that there's a real answer to that, but what I do know is that I am not on Facebook to proselytize my political beliefs. I am there to get business. And I'll be very blatant about it. I tell anybody who knows me, you know, my presence on Facebook is to get business. And I came to the conclusion a long time ago, I have one message. I'm a gaffer. And that's it. You know, I'm not, I don't care what you know about my religion or my politics or my personal life, you know, or anything like that. I'm a gaffer and I want one message. And that one message is very true to advertising too, that people can usually only handle one idea about you. So if you're all over the place, they're going to look at you like you're not serious, you know.
Right. Well, you know, and again, it is people. I talk to so many people who want to disconnect their business from themselves, and it's not possible.
Yeah.
It isn't. You should be, at least for the smaller businesses, right? You think Coca-Cola, I couldn't name you an executive who's at Coca-Cola.
Right.
But when you think Microsoft, right? Bill Gates.
Sure.
That's the first name. And so anything that he does, it reflects on his business. And it's true for every person's business. And it's not that I'm telling people not to be who they are. I just want them to be more cautious and more strategic and think about it.
Yes.
Recently, someone that I knew, and I actually took a screenshot of it. And when I purposely didn't have it for today, but this was 2 or 3 years back. And he was looking for angel investors for his business. But he had posted something that called out a particular religious group, called out a particular political group, even called out cat lovers. I mean, it was a hell of a rant.
Wow, cat you don't mess with the cat lovers. I'll tell you that right now.
And when I speak, I usually put it on the screen, and I don't even like to read it because it's so hate-filled. And I usually watch the audience, and they'll read it and they'll get this look on their face, and nobody's ever gone, yeah, that guy was right. But mostly I would say, this guy wanted angel investors. Would you invest with him?
Yeah. Yeah.
And all of them were like, no, because he showed himself to be so emotional, so out of control. And that's what you want to avoid. Yes. And I guess what I'm trying to wrap up, whether it's Facebook or anywhere that you're at, you have to be the best face for your business, because people will read and they will judge.
Right.
And that's the most important part, because we're no longer living in a private society. We're all living inside out. All of our information is out there and available. So you control what you tell people.
Right, right. And you know, I'll tell you this, I am pretty disciplined on social media, on Facebook. However, I have my moments too, as far as, And I think, I've a little bit come to peace with that, about it. I actually made a post yesterday. I don't know if you saw it or not, but it involved Erdogan, the president of Turkey. And there was an incident at the ambassadorship where he was, of his bodyguards going out and beating up protesters. Now, my take on that is, here's a foreign leader that has come into the country, and he's unleashed his bodyguards on people who are in our country and have the perfect right to do what they were doing, and decided to do that. Now, let me just say, of course, that upset me. I did not like that. That was something that I thought it should have been reprimanded by our government when you have behavior like that. Also, I have to tell you, my wife is Turkish. A big portion of my family is Turkish. And so I am emotionally attached to them. That's just the bottom line, and I know that they're worried. I know that they're afraid of certain things, and I knew they couldn't speak out freely like I could. And I decided to make a statement with that, and saying just essentially what I told you right now, maybe a little more colorful language than I used right now.
But it was true to who you were and what you felt, and that's the important part. See, people want you to be authentic. People want you to be real. It is, and that's one of the things that I hear so much. You do so well on video, obviously, and you do a lot of Onset University, your videos there. But I work with a lot of individuals, and I'll tell them, get on video, do this. And they're so worried about making a misstep. And I say, no, that's part of your charm.
Oh, yeah.
You talking and your cat's tail walking by your face. That's funny. That's real. And people like it. The videos that I get the most comments on are when I do something silly, or I roll my eyes, or I'm swatting a mosquito on my face.
And you do well. You do so well as well on video, because I've noticed that you're very natural, and I think you do the same thing I do. I'm just talking to somebody. I'm just talking to an individual. Something happens in our lives all the time. We go, oh, what was that? Forget that. Oh, I misspoke. Anything, but just natural, just talk to somebody.
Right. And I think as we go on, it is more and more that people want authentic. People want to know. And I know with certain coaches and speakers, they say, hey, these are the mistakes that I made. This is how I lost $1 million, and I'm talking to you so you don't do it. And we respond as individuals well to that, because we're like, oh, okay, they're not perfect. They're like me. I put them on their pedestal, but they're just like me, which means I can get where they're going. And I think that continued honesty is something that's really important in all social aspects.
And to extrapolate that, Candy, that's important in your personal life. I mean, taking all those things we say about social media and putting that in your front life. Talk to people. Don't say things. Talk to people. Let them know, give them your message, but talk to them. And if you can talk to one person, you can talk to 1,000.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And social media, again, is the perfect venue in order to talk to that 1,000.
Right.
Or 10,000 or 100,000
or 100,000 or whatever you're lucky enough to be in front of, and another thing that I sort of believe with it, is honesty trumps all. Yes. If you fail, say, I failed, I did something stupid, I was wrong. And you will get a lot of forgiveness just for that.
Right, because again, it's that honesty, and that you're humanizing yourself. Right. And
absolutely.
One of the things that I hear a lot from people on social media with their businesses, what if I do social media and somebody says something bad about me? And I always say, congratulations, somebody's going to say something bad about you. Because if you don't have haters, you don't have people who really love you.
You're not penetrating the market enough if you don't have haters.
Right.
Yeah.
You're dull. Yeah. You're boring. Nobody cares.
Nobody listens to your message.
Right. Well, even more so, I mean, you can think about, there's probably somebody that you deeply admire, and there's going to be somebody who's going to say something bad about that person. Right. And the good news is when you have your message, when you're authentic, when you're providing good value, and somebody says something against you, then the people that love you will be on board. Will jump on that person and will tell them that they're wrong and how they're wrong. And that's a pretty good feeling. I've had that happen for me, where somebody said something and I looked at it and I was like, no, the backspace.
Yeah.
Backspace is my friend. Oh, backspace. I can't put that out. And then all of a sudden, you have 10 or 12 or 30 of your clients and friends, calling that person out, saying, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know this person.
Yeah.
And so it's just like real life.
Yeah.
You're gonna have people who like you and people who don't.
That's right.
You gotta have to learn how to deal with it.
That's right. Yeah. I would say I could probably remember 3 major posts I have deleted. Didn't post them. I deleted them before I pressed the button, right? And it was just like, okay, you don't need this. No one needs this. This isn't going to increase your going down to when you need it.
Yes.
You know what? I think I want to continue on this very subject when we come back, but we're going to do a quick commercial. So just hang in there and we will be right back.
All right, sounds good.
Burnie's workshop is fantastic. Burnie's workshop is awesome. Burnie's workshop is insightful.
Burnie, in one word, passionate maybe. You can tell he really cares a lot.
Burnie is a badass.
He's a great teacher. He has great stories, and I would recommend this to anyone. Not only someone like me who's starting day one, but I feel that in any profession, as you sharpen your sword, it always gets sharper.
I think the best thing about this is the access to understanding how to run your business, how to actually be in this filmmaking industry and make money at it. Coming to this workshop, I think, is what actually gets you the tools to understand how to do that, how to get out there and sell yourself.
I thought that was really cool. I thought, he knows all the tricks in the book, and he knows how to show that to us and actually demonstrate it so we actually know what he's talking about.
I really like the hands-on experience. That's something that you don't find a lot. That's something you have to go on set a lot to just appreciate.
I know this is lighting seminar, but it's not only talk about lightings. He also share his business experience, personal experience, and guide us to what we should do, what kind of personality we should have in this business.
His stories, I think that kind of say everything in a few example stories that he gives out from time to time.
I would recommend this workshop to anybody who just brand into the industry, people who just don't know the swing of it. A lot of the stuff they don't teach you in film school.
I deal with a lot of freelancers every day, a lot of peers that I went to school with, a lot of professionals in the field, and they all need to take this class because it puts you on the next level, on the next playing field.
Burnie's a great guy. Burnie's really authentic. Like everything he learns, everything he teaches, the way he handles himself, the way he deals with other people, he's a one-of-a-kind guy. Someone I've never come across before in the industry, and someone I hope to emulate and hope that there are more people like him out there that can help.
Onset University is the place where you'll learn how to build your business. On our site, you'll find hours of information that you can use immediately. No matter where you're at in your career, you can use these strategies to grow your business. Also, I'll show you how to use social media to boost your business in a big way. What I teach are real-world, practical solutions to make you successful. Join our community at Onset University. Hey everybody, how you doing? We are here with one of my favorite people, Candy Sugarman, social media expert, and somebody who helps me with my social media. How you doing, Candy?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you, Burnie.
Awesome, awesome. Just before we were talking about, those networks that you make out there, and I just literally within the last hour before we went on, had a couple of experiences that really brought that home to me. First of all, there was a page, and I think it was the Filmmakers Secret Society or something, it's like 1,800 people or so. A fellow whom I'm friends with had posted from Massachusetts, hey, I'm coming out from LA, who would you suggest to go with? And there was probably like maybe 20, comments, all together with back and forths and all that. 3 of those 20 suggested me. And then I went to give the guy a message and realized we're friends. We have actually talked before. So I just said, hey, I gave him a personal message and I said, yeah, if you need anything, just let me know. He's going to send me an email back, and he sent me a message. He goes, yeah, we'll get together and work. Within that same hour, I had another guy call me who said, hey, a company, a network, had gotten a hold of him to DP a series of interviews for him over 4 days. And he said, I can't do it, so I'm giving this to my friend, and he's going to take over. I told him to call you, so he might be calling you. So the guy calls me, and this was just like 20 minutes before we went on, and he goes, oh, I've been watching you for 6 years on Facebook. I'm so happy to talk to you. I go, I'm happy to talk to you too. Thank you. And that is something that, I'm an older guy. Most of my world was without social media. It still blows my mind. It still blows my mind to this very moment that you can make those kind of connections and you can have that sort of presence in the marketplace that I just could never have imagined.
Mm-hmm. And you can have relationships. I have a funny name. There's like 3 Candy Sugarmans.
It's not a funny name. It's a great name.
Thank you. But there's 3 Candy Sugarmans in America.
Okay.
And so I'm the only one in North Carolina. But people remember it. And that's the important part about it. Because again, and I meet people just like you who we're friends on social media forever, and then we get an opportunity to meet in person. In fact, what was it, a month ago, my friend Mary Kravitz, she and I had known each other for 8 years.
Wow.
Okay, she called me her best friend she's never met.
Wow.
And she came out to Charlotte, and she said, Charlotte, North Carolina, and she's like, can you meet me? I'm like, it's a 3-hour drive. I'm there. And we met each other in person. It was almost a surreal moment because we're like, wow, look, an actual person.
We can touch through the mirror now. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. But you're able to build a relationship and build a level of intimacy and trust.
Yes.
Right? Because so somebody told me about you, but then I looked on your social media and I saw what you were posting and who you are, and that built everything up to it built a relationship before there was the actual contact with you, that real relationship part. And that's what I love about social media and the ability to really build a community and build relationships with people who aren't next to you. I mean, that's the most important thing.
Who you've never seen in person. Who you've never seen in person. That blows. We just went to an event, the Chapman Leonard Dolly. I don't know what you would call it, event, I guess. But went there, and I was up in LA. You don't know how many people that I saw in person for the first time who were just like this guy I just talked to, and we're looking at each other and we start waving across the across the yard and stuff like that. Oh, there she is. Yeah, I recognize you. And it was so. And that was happening time after time after time. And then you're so thrilled because you probably do have a one-dimensional sort of view of them. They all, the people that I'm friends with do it right generally. That's who makes the biggest impression on me. They're giving you one message, they're regular with the messages, they don't drop out or anything like that. And then you get to meet them in person, and they're such warm people, and you go that next step, and you do have that almost instant intimacy with them. That you can talk and you're very comfortable, and and in our industry, we all have the same problems worldwide. It's not, it's slow, it's busy, I got to wait 30 days to get my money, or this guy didn't pay me, or whatever, but all those things are unique to the industry, are with us all worldwide. So that is the type of stuff that I really, really love about Facebook.
And you just said something that I thought was really important that we haven't really talked about, which is you said, oh, this guy still owes me money. And that's that reputation management that is so important and regardless of Facebook, regardless of where you are, your reputation, right, is so important. and if I may be a little colorful, what is it? It's like your virginity. You know, once you lose it, it's gone.
It ain't coming back. It ain't growing back.
Exactly, exactly. So you do have to be really careful because once upon a time they said, right, when somebody's unhappy with your service, they'll tell like 10 people.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right.
Now they have the ability to tell hundreds of thousands.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I know not necessarily, well, in your industry, who you are and how you work and how you deliver, as well as the people you work for, is really important.
Reputation.
When I was giving a talk last Thursday, somebody said, well, tell us a little bit more about reviews, like Facebook reviews, and what can we do and how can we do better? I'm like, well, and I was on a panel, and the woman next to me, Carrie Kittinger, said, well, first of all, do what you say you're going to do and deliver what you're going to say. And that will make sure that you get good reviews.
Yeah.
And I said, look, if you have an overwhelming number of good reviews, people saying great things about you, and you get a couple of bad reviews, you're okay.
Yes.
Right? You don't want to ignore the reviews. You want to, you want to engage
address
with them.
them.
Say, hey,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, hey, sorry that wasn't what you wanted. I would love the chance to talk to you, learn more, maybe fix the problem. But for the most part, if you see 326 great reviews and 2 reviews, you're going to dismiss those 2 bad reviews.
Right.
You just are.
Right.
It's human nature. You're going to go, oh, those are those complainers. Somebody who's never happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Trolls, the competition, people who are never happy.
Right.
And so, but your reputation now precedes you.
Yes, yes, that's so true. That's so true. It's how do you get new business in social media? How do you penetrate in somewhere? Are there any techniques for that?
Well, it's so funny because you mentioned it. I mean, it's still social media, but it's that word of mouth, right? You're building your know, like, and trust. You've got a social profile that hopefully you're posting on regularly.
Right.
I get people who like reach out to me, and I go to their page and they haven't posted since 2015, and all I can think of is, okay, you're not real. I'm not going to accept your friendship request.
Yes.
Right?
Well, boy, that brings up, that actually brings up a big subject, because I have a lot of people. I think I have like 1,300 friend requests, and then they turn into followers, and that's all great. Right. And all that. You have no idea how many that, not of those people, because I weed them out, but I'll look at somebody who sent me a friend request and I go, oh, that's absolutely a phony site. How, say let me just ask an opinion of you. Say of the 1.6 or 7, 1.7 billion people who use Facebook, how many of them do you think are real?
I think probably about 80% of them are real.
Yeah.
And just so that I'm 80% are real. There's probably another 10% that have 2 profiles.
Yes.
Oh, as they say in the South, bless their hearts. There are so many people out there that have multiple profiles, and they'll tell me, and I'm like, they'll tell me their reasons, and it never makes any sense. And I'm like, well, then I don't know who you are. You're duplicitous.
Yeah.
Literally, there's 2 of you.
There's a double. Yeah. There's an evil twin out there, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So who am I supposed to be a friend, and who am I supposed to tag? And I don't know why they do this, but so I think you've got a majority of them there. I think for the most part, there's a lot of real people. Yeah. And then you have those weird. And I'll tell you honestly, because I run a number of groups. I've had people who tried to get into my women's only group, and there's nothing on their profile. And so I'll message them and I'll say, you need to call me because I need to make sure you're a real person. Oh. And they'll call me, and they will be real people. I will meet them. Wow. It's just they create this Facebook profile but they don't want any personal information on it because, and again, I'm over by Fort Bragg, so there's security clearance. Right. There's all sorts of secret government reasons, I guess. Yeah. that they don't want to have a personal profile. Right. So there are probably a number of people that I've dismissed out of hand that are actually real. It's just their Facebook profile looks fake.
Yeah. Well, I get, it's amazing how many women in bikinis want to be my friend. I can tell you that. Let me just put it that way, to put it nice. Let me ask you about this, because I think well, let me just say this. I know for a fact I have probably made every social media mistake myself, already. One of them that I am kind of suffering with, and this is only my fault, is I have a lot of sites, as you know, because you know them all. And I do a good job on some, most either mediocre to bad. And what is your opinion about a good number of sites? Or in other words, if you're not maintaining a site, and there's a couple that I have that I am not, what should you do? What should you do? Should you deactivate them?
I guess you need to think back about why you opened the site. Like, what was the strategic reason for you to open that site? And if the reasons, for a lot of people, they have social proof, right? They have that site because people look for it because they're looking for an address, or they're looking for reviews, or they just want to make sure the business is legitimate.
Right.
If that's still true, keep it. If you were doing it to build a community and it faltered and it failed, then go ahead and deactivate it. But the first step is always to say, why did I open this? What was the reason for it? And see if it's still a legitimate reason. If it is, then say, what's the next step? How can I make sure that everything that I'm doing there reflects that reason? Okay, good. I think I have to do some reviewing, because I know there are some things that I've had, and they were really great ideas at the time. Now, not so much, And that's the wonderful thing about social, especially like Facebook and all social media, is that you can go, I've got a great idea. And you can create that page, and then you can play with it a little bit, and you can develop that concept a little bit, and then kind of go, that's not quite it. Now, I would suggest, before you deactivate it, is there somebody that you can sell it to?
Oh, that's interesting. I had never even considered that.
Yeah, so if you look at it and you're like, well, I've got a couple thousand people or as likers on this page, I've got good engagement, is there somebody that would be interested in taking it over for me, or in order to purchase it?
Right.
Because you've built up all that goodwill, and the longer you've had it, the more Facebook likes you for having it, because now it's aged and it has all that information and it has a number of likers, and that might be worth your while. I mean, I know people who have done that with groups.
Okay.
Built a group up and then looked and said, hey, this group really works with your business model. You can go ahead and take it over, and you just pay me, and I've done all the hard work. Now you just have to maintain it.
What do sites go for? What are some of the numbers you've heard before? And how is it? How do you gauge the price on that, or the value?
That is a good one. I don't know if I can give you any prices really off the top of my head. It really depends on what market it is.
Yeah.
If somebody's trying to break into a new market.
Yeah.
And how much engagement, how much goodwill, and how well you set it up.
So it's actually, people, you've known people who have sold sites then?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, you can absolutely sell a site and just have them take it over, and there you go.
Wow, that's interesting. Maybe I should look at some of that, because I feel it's almost like a guilt thing when you're not, it's like you're neglecting one of your children. I know it sounds stupid, but that's how I feel. It's like, I go to the page and there's shame, they're looking back at me. I'm sorry. Well,
because you feel like you created it with this kind of promise in mind. I'm building this so that, like-minded individuals will be able to do this or have this or share this information. And so I get that, which is why if you can find someone who could take it over, that would make the most sense. And if you're already on that page, I would, that's one of the things that I would write there. I am looking to see if somebody would be interested in taking command over this page. Right. If you're interested, please call me.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, anybody. Yeah. Oh, that's good. I like that. Candy, we're going to take another quick break here, and we'll be right back. And I want to talk about Facebook Live when we come back. Okay. So I want to hear everything you know.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. Be right back. Hi, I'm Burnie. I own Burnie's Grip and Lighting, San Diego Grip and Lighting, and Los Angeles Grip and Lighting. You know, we pride ourselves on not only renting you the best equipment, but also giving you the best crews. And one of our core values here at Burnie's Grip and Lighting is that we give you the highest production value in the world. And remember, people used to say national, local. No, we present world-class production value on every set. We also know budgets are very tight these days, and you've got 10 hours to get what you need in the can. We move ahead, we move fast, and we know what you need. When you rent from Burnie's Grip and Lighting, you have a partner on your production for that day that is making sure you are well taken care of. So anytime you're in Southern California, give us a call at 714-609-3545, and we'll take very good care of you. See you on set. Hey everybody, we're back here with my favorite person, Candy Sugarman, my social media guru or goddess. What do you prefer, guru or goddess? What is it, Candy?
I like goddess.
Okay,
I like goddess.
social media goddess, Candy Sugarman. You know, what we're doing here on this show is something that, because I'm in, you know, the media, we tried to take Facebook Live and take it up to the highest standard that we could. And whether that is the highest standard there is, I don't know. I know there's some shows starting to show. I know Cheddar TV, I don't know if you're familiar with them or not, but it's mostly financial. Ben, oh no, I can't remember his last name. That's okay. He started it, but he only started it a couple of years ago, and they're not exclusive to Facebook by any means. This show is sort of exclusive to Facebook, but I tried to push the envelope as far as I could. We're very, very thrilled. I'm thrilled with the response I've gotten. It's mind-boggling, to tell you the truth. What is your take on Facebook Live? Tell me what you tell your clients about Facebook Live right now.
Well, first, we all know that Facebook loves Facebook Live. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And when you do Facebook Live, Facebook is going to show that you're live to a lot of people. It's going to promote it. They want more people to do Facebook Live, so they're going to do everything they can to promote it. So it's an easy way for you to get your message out to a lot of people. And as we were talking about the authenticity, that's one of the things that's so great about Facebook Live, is because it's all authentic. You make a mistake, you fumble a word, you swear, whatever it is, it's there, and people really get an understanding of your personality.
Yeah.
But it's even so much more than that, because they're able to type comments, they're able to interact with you, and that is something. We were also used to TV, right? Very passive.
Yes.
We sit there and we watch, and okay, we sit there, we watch, and we yell at the screen.
Yeah,
if you're anything
right,
like me.
right.
And while this isn't a drama or comedy or anything like that, it gives everyone the opportunity to be able to ask their questions and share and be a part of it. So that's, I think, what makes Facebook Live so important for pretty much any business.
Yes, I totally agree. I totally agree. We've got on the slate for, and I've started the Applebox network, because after Burnie's Applebox, that just made sense, because we're going to have some new shows on. We're going to have a show called Grip Rigs, and Grip Rigs is there's another story. Grip Rigs was my friend Greg Flores, who's a key grip here in Hollywood, and he just started posting pictures of the rigs that he made on set. You know, he's at 70-some thousand likes on his page. Instagram, he's on 120,000 likes or something. So we're actually doing a show here for Grip Rigs, and we've got our studio out there, and we're going to be building grip projects and then showing all of that media and content that he's got on Grip Rigs. And we're going to present that way, you know, and it's a really, people are very interested in it. In our little world, you know, they're very interested in it. And
70,000 likers is a little bit bigger than a little, but yeah.
that's pretty good. And then our other one, which is another topic that is come up by Kevin Allen, which is just brilliant, is mystartup.live. And he is focused on startups only. How do you who are you? What do you have? And how did you get here? And where are you going with it? You know, and that is something that is just, we haven't got in, so it's probably going to be, I think, June 9th is going to be our first show for My Startup Live. And then probably the next week we'll have grip rigs. So I put them on a network, Applebox network, and we're just going to take it from there. And this is the type of thing that I foresee. I foresee people having networks. They're broadcasting to their direct user base, you know. And I think it's still really new. This is a whole long way of me coming by when you said that TV has always been so passive. I think that's what we're still conditioned to. Because even if you've cut the cable, it's still a one-way street. You're just receiving the information. I don't believe we have even come close to, on Facebook Live, really opening that dialogue. You know, people don't think about talking back and forth to somebody on a video medium, you know, and I think that's going to be, in my mind, the biggest thing about it, is there's going to be pushback.
You know, you're absolutely right. And what you're doing, it sounds so incredible and so exciting, and really on the cutting edge, because I can only think of like 1, 2, maybe 3 other businesses. I know NRA TV does an NRA TV broadcast, right? And people are allowed to, you know, to type in and to talk, and that's the important part of it. There's Mashable does something like that, and I'm trying to think, and of course it's right out of my head right now, but there's another company that does that, and it's their own news program.
Yes, I know, it's incredible, isn't it? It's amazing that they do it. And this is just the start. I mean, we are in the raw infancy of all this, you know.
And that's what's so exciting. I mean, to be on that cutting edge. Okay, here, I'll digress for 2 seconds. I used to be in back in the internet bubble days in Orange County, actually in Irvine.
Okay.
Off of Jamboree and MacArthur.
You're right close.
Yes. So I used to be in an internet bubble when websites and e-commerce were just emerging, and we called ourselves, we weren't on the cutting edge, we were on the bleeding edge.
The bleeding edge, I love it. I love it, the bleeding edge.
So what you're doing is bleeding edge stuff. I mean, there's the opportunity, of course, to, you know, go all in and maybe not survive. Yeah. And there's the ability to go all in and be one of the pioneers to get there when people are still going, I mean, I love where I live locally, but honestly, people here are like 10 years behind. I'm meeting people who don't even have a Facebook business page, and they've been in business for 20 years. I still meet people who don't have a website.
Oh boy.
So,
oh boy. But you know what? That is a very good point, because there's a lot of people like that. You know? And
oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
And I was just saying that, you know, the ability to react quickly and try something new and different is really what will make you stand out in the crowd and put you so far ahead of everyone else. People who are trying to get business pages up now, you know, like real estate agents. I get a lot of real estate agents. Oh, yeah. And I say, you know, here's your problem. There's a bazillion people who do what you do in your neighborhood. How are you going to, and they've been doing it for 10 years. Yeah. How are you going to stand out? Yeah. Yeah. And that's the struggle. For what you're doing, you are now setting the new standard of how people behind you are going to go, well, how do we do what Burnie does? How can we make it better? You know, knowing that you already have a 5-year head start. Yeah. Well,
you know, that's very kind to say. I hope they do. I hope I do it well enough to be there in 5 years. So, you know, we're looking, but you know, I have the greatest secret that anybody who's successful already knows. I surround myself with people who are smarter than me, like yourself, and they usually cut the path to let me walk down. So that's usually what it is. But you know, when you gave that example of the realtor, I think that's a great thing. What would you do, say, in a very crowded marketplace, and you've got it? Let's say you're a plumber. Let's say you're a realtor. Let's say you want to directly go into social media. How would you, what are a couple tips you would give them to do that? Okay. One, you have to make sure that you're differentiating yourself from everyone else. That's the important part. So how are you going to do that?
You are unique. What you do, who you are, your message, your beliefs, those are all part of your business. So you have to think about that. As a social media person who, I mean, my gosh, like, isn't everybody a social media person? I have to figure out how I'm standing out, what makes people want to work with me or even listen to my message. So that's the first thing. What are you unique? Second of all, think about the people that you're wanting to attract. It's so easy in social media to get caught up in the me. Well, this is my channel and my business and my customers, when it should be, what is it that my prospects want? What is it that customers want? What is it that clients want? What is it that people need to know? And how can I provide them that information and that service and that knowledge? Because as we spoke earlier, right, that know, like, and trust, that's what they're looking at. Nobody goes onto Facebook going, okay, I want to be sold today.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. I want somebody to sell me on their product. Here, I'm just going to scroll through. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And again, I think we touched, like, without meaning to, we touched every point of it, which is you're building up that know, like, and trust and goodwill in people. How often, especially since Facebook had created that recommendation, so when you said, hey, can anybody recommend, and then it pops up on Facebook with, you know, the recommend thing, and all of a sudden people are able to tag businesses and things like that. That word of mouth is huge. I know people sometimes get confused and they're like, well, you do social media, why are you talking about word of mouth? And I'm like, social media is the instrument for that word of mouth.
Yes, yes, that's very, very good point. That's a very good point. Let me say, if you are a business, how often should you be posting? And I'm assuming that it's not the same answer for everybody, but what's a formula? What's the way you can think about it?
Well, so I mentioned earlier social proof, right? Where you like, when I do presentations, I usually show a Facebook page of an oncologist, right? Go cure cancer. Don't bother posting on Facebook.
Yeah.
But they have that page because they know that people want to know where they're located and want to look at reviews. You know, 3 times a week, perfectly acceptable.
Okay.
You just want to make sure that when people pop on that page, they know that you're still a real business and that you're still open.
And let me ask you this, say for that oncologist, the message, should it be about the disease or the hope?
Ooh, that's a really great one. I guess it would depend on each oncologist and again, their unique message and their vision. But people, you know, people don't go, don't be hopeful. You know, people love hope, right? Monday motivations are a huge thing on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook for a reason. People want to be uplifted. And you can be crabby and nasty. Well, I say that, but really with an asterisk. You can be crabby and you can be nasty on your personal page, but you probably don't want to be on your business page. And as I said that, there is a firearms guy, and I won't mention his name, who is horrible. I mean, he calls his customers names. I mean, really bad names. He makes fun of them. He says terrible things about them, and people love him. He's got a YouTube channel, and he's got. But I look at that and I'm like, okay, I'm not his target market.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want to ever do business with somebody
that.
like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's kind of the Don Rickles school of business management, right?
Yes.
Yeah. God rest
Very
his
much
soul.
so. The insult comic type of thing. So really, yes, the message should be tailored to your audience and who you are. And then from there, it really depends on who you are. You know, Facebook, I have people who say, if you have less than 10,000 followers or likers, you shouldn't post more than once a day. Well, that might work for them, but I know specifically for my gunpowder gals, I get more likes, I get more engagements when I post 5 to 8 times a day.
Wow.
And once, as an experiment, I posted once an hour, 20 hours a day, 3 days straight. Okay, 60 posts. It was a lot of work, but I had gotten so many new likers and so much engagement that even when I stopped doing it 3 days later, I was still feeling the effects in terms of likers and engagement.
Wow.
So I hate those hard and fast rules because it depends on your audience.
Yeah. You know what? I got to get to this because we've been talking about this week. What's Facebook's phone number? Can you give us that? I know you
if
can't.
If I had it, I would sell it.
Oh, you would get big money for that too.
Yeah, make me cash offers. Go ahead.
Come on. We got it. All the digits right here. Yeah. So, I'm in a very frustrating place with Facebook right now. A couple issues. I mean, not killer issues, I guess, but it is so annoying to not be able to at least chat with someone or email someone. Okay, you don't want to talk on the phone. I get that. I get that. You're going to have people all languages all over the world. I totally understand. But what happened to their customer service? Or is there even a concept of customer service in Facebook?
I think when you have 1.7 billion users, I mean, I can't even wrap my, okay, first nobody said there'd be math.
Around it. Yeah.
and so I can't even figure out like how many customer service people you would need to hire in order to handle the influx of calls or chats.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, they would probably be the number one employer on earth.
Yeah.
If they did
no, they probably would be. You're right. They would be huge. And all the questions would be like, how do I change my picture on Facebook?
It is.
Yeah.
The good news, the semi-good news is if you're paying for ads, they will actually, you have an email support and you can get some back and forth with them. That's really important. It might take a little bit, but it does happen.
So
only if you pay.
But only if you pay. If you're paying for ads, will they answer questions outside of the ad category? No. So someone who is even buying ads and has a problem with Facebook on the other side, they won't get answered, right? Yeah. That is, I wonder what the thinking is there. I guess maybe
they do
it
have
is.
A community.
What's that?
So they do have a community. And that community is supposedly trolled by customer service. So you can put in a topic and say, why is this happening to me, and post it, and any individual can comment on it, and then supposedly, as I said, Facebook gods, Facebook angels look for these and answer.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're lucky and they do it quickly, sometimes not so much.
Yeah. Wow. Any, we've covered this whole hour almost on Facebook right now. So any other quick tips on any other social media? And I wish we would have got to them, but I'm a Facebook junkie.
That's what, you know what, the fundamentals carry wherever you are. As a business, you want to think why. Well, first you want to make sure your target market is actually on the channel that you're on. You want to come up with a strategy of how you're going to communicate with them. How often are you going to do it, and what are you going to communicate? Make sure that it is customer centric. Those are the important things that people go, oh, I've got a new Facebook page, and they start posting on content or Instagram, and they start posting pictures, and they don't have a clear path. They don't know what it's supposed to get them. And so it gets them nothing.
Yes.
Or very little.
Very interesting. Just we're gonna leave here in a second. Just one note. Do you see the empty cat basket just behind Candy there? All the time when we were in prep, the cat was there, and it was the most beautiful picture. I go, boy, I hope that cat stays there the whole show. And 1 minute before we came in, and everybody in media will totally understand this, the cat got up and left and never came back. So, there it is. Oh, special appearance. This is great. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think that cat could make big money in Hollywood. You might consider moving back out here, Candy. I don't know.
Yes.
Candy, it has been an absolute pleasure. And even though we talk all the time, we really have not talked like this, I think. We're usually talking specific things and stuff.
Yes.
So it's just been so wonderful to speak with you today, and I hope you can get back out here to California one of these days, and we can talk.
Absolutely. As soon as I make plans, I will make sure to contact you, and we'll meet. We'll do the Facebook to person meeting that we were talking about.
That we all talk about so much. How do we get a hold of you, Candy, and who can you help?
Okay, so I can help businesses from the solopreneurs to the ones who have about 5 to 10 employees. Those are my sweet spots. I do done for you services where I take over all of social media for you. I do Facebook ads. I also do strategy development. And for those smaller businesses who maybe have a tighter budget, I offer one-on-one coaching. I also offer one-on-one training. So
awesome.
I make sure that everyone's taken care of. My company name is Play Big Online Marketing. You can, of course, find me on Facebook. Quite frankly, if you get confused, look for Candy Sugarman. Google Candy Sugarman. Again, I'm the only Candy Sugarman in North Carolina. Pretty easy to find.
Awesome. Candy, so great to talk to you. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you very soon. You know that.
Yes. Thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it.
Absolute, Candy. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cut. That's a wrap.